So here we are again. We're getting to crunch time now. It's round 4 of the Six Nations, and as you can see, the table is very tight at the top. We got some massive fixtures this week, and none bigger than starting off with Ireland-France. Probably the hit out for the Six Nations title. If France win, they'll probably look likely to go on and win it. Ireland, obviously Grand Slam. So going to be a pretty good one on Saturday. And then we've also got Scotland-Wales. Again, will be a very good game. Wales come out firing against Ireland. They were at home though 2 weeks ago, and Scotland back at home this week. So would expect Scotland to recover from that England loss and beat Wales. Then on Sunday, we got England versus Italy. England have to do something with their attack, or else they'll be out of the run-in to win it. At the time of recording this video, all the teams are out apart from Italy. So you can see on screen now, but some pretty decent and interesting picks. Ireland gone with a 6-2 split, and France back to their 7-1 split that they did 2 weeks ago. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that game pans out. And let me know down in the comments if you are picking many from that game, because obviously you imagine will be a tight game, so let me know. And you will probably be able to hear from my voice, but I haven't been very well over this fallow week, so you can probably count the amount of uploads or lack of uploads to do with that. So apologies for the screechy nature, but we move. As ever though, if you do like the videos, please subscribe to the channel, like, and also just comment your thoughts and teams down below. Always check comments, always reply, and interesting to see your guys' thoughts this weekend. So as always, let's just get straight into it. In the front row, I've actually kept Will Griff-John. Very, very decent performance last time out. Did only score 14 points. I'm really not sure how, because it says on his stats that he had one attacking scrum win, which, if anyone watched that game, just wasn't the case. Literally had about 4 penalties in the first 10 minutes. So I'm not sure how they've calculated that. They're just doing props dirty, I think, because no props score very well, which is also why I've just kept one free. Yes, budget, but also, yeah, Will Griff-John performed brilliantly last time and scored 14 points, so getting a bit fed up, if I'm honest. Saying that though, I have gone with his Balding counterpart in Dave Cherry. Hasn't performed massively in terms of points, but is against Wales, and I imagine Scotland just want to go back to basics, so I am feeling a rolling maul try, which I do frequently say, but Cherry is also under 10 stars, and that enables the rest of the team. Could have picked Sheehan, but also noticed that he hadn't scored greatly either. Mavaka, similar. So I've gone for a cheaper option in Dave Cherry, who does actually have a good fixture as well. Next up, in the second row, I've gone pretty expensive with Tyg Burn initially. So, not cheap, almost 17 stars, but has scored pretty decently. Well, apart from round 3. Scored 16 in round 3, but he is a very premium option who does usually perform. The reason why I've picked him is because it's a very big game, Ireland-France, and they need big game players to win, and Tyg Burn is exactly that. So that's exactly why I've picked him and haven't skimped on having a cheap second row. Saying that though, I have also gone with Will Rowlands, who has performed just slightly better than Tyg Burn in terms of fantasy points over the course of the 3 games, so that's exactly why I've kept him in. Pretty sure I've had him in for every game. Good enabler, good tackler, and he'll do much more of that on the weekend. Next up is the back row, and once again, haven't skimped on budget. I've kept Ben Earl. With England's large back row bench. I think they've literally got like 3 players on the bench who can play back row. Does worry me a little bit, but I did have that caution last week and he went out and scored 34 points. So yeah, wasn't too disappointed there. Benno is, again, very big game player and a good attacking option for England. So that's exactly why I've picked him, because they'll need some attack in that back row. Secondly, I've gone with Jack Morgan. He has would say decent. He has an okay fixture against Scotland. Obviously, Scotland lost last time out, and Wales, they performed pretty decently against Ireland, to be fair. So kept Morgan in because of his defensive capability. Has also performed very well over this Six Nations, scored 37 last time out and lowest score of 23. So a very solid and consistent performer who will just keep tackling. Then I've also gone big game player, Greg Aldrete. So similar to my reasonings for picking Tyke Byrne, Greg Aldrete is just a monster when it comes to, not only fantasy points, but just performances in general. If France are going to go to Ireland and win, then Aldrete is going to have to dominate that back row, dominate Caelan Doris with carries and tackling. Can he do that? Well, we'll have to wait and see, but I've backed him just off the basis of his previous fantasy points. 47 last time out with the lowest score of 27, and we all know what he did in the first week, 71 points. At halfbacks, not much, to be honest, needs saying. Gone Antoine Dupont, again, just absolutely ridiculous stats. If you didn't have him in last week, I feel very sorry for you. Scored 90 points, which was, by far the most of that round. Also, if you captained him, fair play. Just keep missing out on the big scoring captains for this game so far. But yeah, Dupont picks himself. He is very expensive and going head-to-head against Gibson Park. But yeah, Dupont's the best player in the world, right? So hopefully we'll prove that on Saturday. Finn Smith, on the other hand, probably has some proving to do if he wants to even get into a Lions jersey, but has played pretty well so far. They've picked Fraser Dingwall, and outside of that, Northampton players, they've got Alex Mitchell in the back line, Slightholme and Freeman. So they have gone very Saints in the back line, maybe to help Smith a little bit, get that attacking game going. So we'll have to see, but I have stuck with him for the past 2 rounds, performed very well, and will more than likely be on kicking with Marcus on the bench. In the centres, I have gone very big once again. Gone with Hugh Jones, who has been a stand-up performer so far in this fantasy. I think mainly because of his opening week hat-trick. Outside of that, hasn't done overly well, but like I said, has been consistent. Over 20 points each time. And now with a pretty decent fixture in Wales at home, I think he'll turn the screw and that Scottish back line will click. Bundy Aki is also in my team. Again, similar to the reasoning for picking all French and Irish players so far, is they're just big game players. Ireland have gone with a 6-2 split, which only has Jack Crowley covering all of the backs. So I do imagine Aki to stay on. And every time I pick Aki, he does perform pretty decently. So I'm hopeful that against that new French centre pairing, he has a field day. And then finally, in the starting 15, I would say gone pretty big. I have gone pretty big, but I guess could have gone bigger with Irish and French, by 3 players. But kicking it off, I've gone Van der Merwe. So I picked him last week off the back of 2 pretty mediocre performances in the first 2 rounds in terms of points, and he went and scored 62 points for me. So that's kind of why I've kept him. Darcy Graham is back, and I do tend to go for Graham over Van der Merwe. But with the Wales inexperience in the back 3, that's pretty much why I've picked it. Are they going to want to face and come up and tackle Van der Merwe? Well, you'd hope so, but also you know what Van der Merwe can do. So that's why I've picked him. Also gone with Blair Kinghorn, who has had a very good fantasy scoring over the past 3 weeks. 28, 38 and 44 points of late. That's why I've captained him, because he has just kept ticking over and performed, and only got 1 assist, no tries. And all of this has pretty much come from meters carried and defenders beaten. Only made 6 tackles, supposedly, in 3 rounds, which to me sounds ridiculous. But that's why I've picked him, because if Wales are loose in their kicking game, which they definitely can be, and as you can see from the past 3 rounds, other teams have been, then Kinghorn will exploit this. And hopefully he picks up a try or 2 to go with his pretty decent scoring so far. And then finally, I've gone with Freeman. He has scored in every game so far, which is very impressive, but hasn't broken any records in terms of fantasy points. Keep on about England need to just start their attacking game right now and put Italy to the sword. I don't think they'll do that incredibly well, but I do think that they will get some sort of attacking return going, and Freeman looks like the biggest poacher in that team. And then on my bench for Super Sub, don't know if there's a more obvious pick for Super Sub this week, with England having a 6-2 split, so no backs cover. Only backs cover is Marcus Smith. He will definitely come on to employ a different style of attacking game, which I think England will definitely need. Do I think he'll come on and kick? Well, maybe, if he comes on for Finn Smith. We just don't know the ploy at the moment. Probably going to come on at 15, which again, in terms of fantasy points, will help. He has also scored pretty decently, minimum of 20 and a high of 29, so again, mediocre. But we also know that he hasn't set the world alight so far. Can he do that from the bench? Well, I think he'll have a good opportunity and a fire lit inside him. So I think Smith come on against it. I would say a weakened Italy, but they're only weakened after the France defeat. Do I think that's going to happen again? No. Do I think Marcus Smith will come and rejuvenate that England attack? Yes, I do. So that's why I've picked him. So that is my team for round 4. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I feel like I've gone very expensive and yeah, managed to somehow get all the players that I went in. Probably would like one more Irish player in there, maybe Caelan Doris, maybe for Ben Earl, but yeah, I think I'm pretty happy overall. I think Ben Earl has a higher possibility of returning a lot of points against Italy than Doris does against France, especially because he's been injured. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. Captain on Kinghorn, Super Sub Marcus Smith. I don't think you can get much set going into a round, but let me know your guys' teams down in the comments, because it is always interesting to see what you guys have done. So as always, thanks for watching, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next one.